The manifest said 12 names, but Della Marsh counted 13 kids. By the time she understood why, it was already too late to forget it. Della had driven Route 9 through Marsh Falls for 6 years. 6 years of the same gravel roads, the same fog off Cutter's Hollow Creek every October, the same 12 names on her clipboard in the same order every single morning. She could recite her stops in her sleep: Larch Street, Boyden's Crossing, the Fenwick Place at the end of the dirt lane. 12 stops, 12 kids, one long loop that ended at Thistledown Elementary at 7:52 sharp. But that Tuesday, the fog was thicker than usual. She slowed for the last stop before the school, a gravel turnoff she didn't recognize, tucked between two dead oak trees. There was no name for it on her sheet. But a kid was standing there anyway, small, gray coat, hooded, backpack too big for his shoulders. Della opened the door out of habit before she had even decided to. The kid climbed on without a word and walked straight to the back to seat number 13, the one seat that never got used because her route only ever carried 12. Della didn't think much of it. She thought it might be a new family. It might be clerical delay. She pulled back onto the road and didn't look in the mirror again until Thistledown. But when she counted the kids off the bus that morning, she counted 12. The gray coat wasn't one of them. The seat in the back was empty. But when she checked it before pulling away, there was a smear of cracked mud on the vinyl, still wet. The next morning, Dispatch handed her a new manifest. Fenwick stop, the one at the end of the dirt lane, the one she had made every day for 6 years, was gone. In its place, same slot, same time, was a name she had never officially been given: the Hollow Creek Band. She asked Warren at the depot about it. He shrugged and said the sheet had always read that way, hadn't it? Della knew it hadn't. She had written Fenwick's name in her own hand 100 times. She started watching the back seat instead of the mirror. The gray coat got on at Hollow Creek Bend again. Got off nowhere, she saw. And each day something small changed that she couldn't explain to anyone who would believe her. Wednesday, the coat was already in seat 13 by her 5th stop, and she never saw it climb on. Thursday, it was there by her 3rd stop. Friday, 2nd stop. The gap between where the route began and where the gray coat sat kept closing, one stop at a time, and Della didn't yet understand why. On Saturday, there was no route at all. No school, no manifest, nothing scheduled. Della drove past Cutter's Hollow Road anyway, telling herself it was just to clear her head. She meant to take the long way past the reservoir, nowhere near the turnoff. She still ended up parked at the dead oaks at Hollow Creek Bend. The gravel lane beyond the oaks was empty. It was the emptiness that scared her the most, like something had simply finished its errand early and gone home to wait. Della finally asked the one person who might understand, and it was Owen Pruitt, who had driven Route 9 back in the 90s before it was even called Route 9. She found him at the hardware store on Vantage Street and said one name: Hollow Creek Bend. His face went the color of old paper. He didn't ask how she knew the name. He only said, "Did you open the door?" Della hesitated and said, "Once." Owen looked away and said, "Then don't do it again." She asked, "What happens if I do?" He replied, "It becomes your stop." Della stared at him. "What does that mean?" Owen picked up a box of nails and walked towards the counter, and he said, "Exactly what it sounds like." He never answered another question for the rest of that fall. That night, at County Library, Della found the old township ledgers, 1962, a school bus, fog, the old wooden bridge over Cutter's Hollow before the county rebuilt it in steel, one child unaccounted for. The next page held a route manifest, 12 names, 13 stops. The 13th stop had been crossed out so heavily that the paper had nearly torn. Beside it, in handwriting that wasn't part of the original record, 4 words were written: "Do not open the door." She turned the page, 1971, another manifest. Again 12 names, again 13 stops, again the same 4 words. She turned the page once more. There was nothing, no explanation, no names, no record of what happened afterwards, just 2 old manifests and the same warning. And then Della understood exactly what had actually been changing. The gray coat wasn't appearing earlier each day. The route was losing stops. Every morning, one more stop vanished between the gray coat and the front of the line. It wasn't moving towards her. The route was bringing it closer, one erased stop at a time. And now there was only one stop left, and it was hers. By Monday, the manifest had only one name on it: Hollow Creek Bend, and it was the stop one. Della stared at the sheet for a long time, and then she understood. The route had never been counted towards the school. It had been counting towards the beginning, towards the first stop, towards her. Stop 1 had always been Large Street, Della's own street, the place where every morning before her real route even started, she picked up her own daughter Wren and let her ride the first 2 miles before dropping her at her grandmother's. A stop that had never once been on any official sheet because it wasn't supposed to be there at all. She pulled onto Large Street that morning into fog thicker than she had ever driven through. Her own porch light was barely visible through it. And at the end of her driveway, past where Wren always stood waiting with her backpack, there was a second shape, smaller, gray coat, hood up, standing perfectly still, facing the bus, exactly where the driveway met the road. Della's hand was already on the lever. 6 years of habit. Every stop, every morning the door opens. The gray shape stood at the end of the driveway waiting. Della looked at the manifest. One name, one stop, one door. And she remembered what Ovid had told her. Once you open the door, it becomes your stop. Her hand tightened around the lever. Then she let go. She didn't open it. Instead, she called through the half-open window, "Ren!" Her daughter ran towards the bus. The gray figure didn't move. Della watched her daughter climb the steps, then pulled the door shut. For the first time in 6 years, she skipped a stop. But that afternoon, Della checked the manifest again. 12 names, 12 stops, and Fenwick was back. Hollow Creek Bend was gone. She checked the back of the bus. Seat 13 was empty. She checked again the next morning. It was empty. The morning after that, empty. By the end of the week, the route was exactly what it had been for 6 years. 12 children, 12 stops, no missing names, no extra stops, no gray coat. Della never drove through Hollow Creek Bend again. But that night, when her daughter Ren was doing her homework at the kitchen table, Della watched her for a moment. Ren looked up. "Mom, are we going to take the bus tomorrow?" Della smiled and said, "Of course, my daughter." Ren nodded and went back to her homework. A few seconds passed. Then she said, "I like the quiet kid." Della's smile disappeared, and she asked, "What quiet kid?" Ren looked confused and said, "The one who used to wait at the stops." Della said nothing. Ren shrugged and said, "He doesn't wait anymore." Della didn't ask another question. She didn't need to. For the first time in 3 weeks, she believed the route was normal again. But the next morning, 12 children boarded the bus. Della counted them twice. She closed the doors. The bus pulled away. But behind her, seat 13 remained empty, and for a few seconds nothing happened. But then a single drop of creek water fell onto the vinyl.